Good afternoon. Today we are announcing the COVID contact and tracing system and initiative in the state of Washington. We are excited about this initiative because it is the next major step in our effort to defeat is absolutely integral to our success. It is supremely important to our ability to reopen our economy and our businesses while simultaneously protecting our health. And I'm excited about the progress our state has made to date and looking forward to this discussion. We're joined today by National Guard Lieutenant Colonel Steve Hobbs, who you may know as a state senator as well, who will speak as on behalf of the National Guard. Department of Health Secretary John Weisman, and Kittitas County Public Health Administrator Tristan Lamb. And I'd like to tell you about this initiative. It is robust, it is vigorous, and it is comprehensive, and it needs to be all three of those to succeed. This initiative will be a statewide extension of what local public health districts have historically done for other diseases, such as tuberculosis and hepatitis and the like. But it will be on a much grander scale as it needs to be, given the extent of the COVID-19 virus. It will be the largest in our state's history, as it should be, and I'm very glad that we can implement this initiative now. And the reason is because if we do not succeed in this, what you might think is the second stage of our efforts, this virus could jump right back out and bite us. We have had some early success in our state, as you know, because of the vigorous effort of Washingtonians to socially distance, which has been very frustrating and difficult for us. But it has given us early success. It has given us the opportunity to continue this for some more time as we then transition into the contact tracing, testing, and isolation initiative that we are implementing. So this initiative will represent a transition from one strategy to another. Our early days, we used social distancing. It's been frustrating, but it has been significantly effective. Now, as we attempt to transition to open back up our economy, we're simultaneously moving to this second initiative of testing, contact tracing, and isolation of people who in fact are infected. We think of this as a smart weapon against this virus. It's smart because it's located just to the folks and targeted for the folks who are positive, and if it's successful, it will allow us to reopen our economy. But this is something we have to be dedicated to, and today I want to share with you our dedication to that effort. Now, as we know at the moment, there are no treatments to stop the spread of this virus, but this is the smart weapon that is available to us. And I want to say, in some sense, this next stage, the testing, contact tracing, and isolation stage of this effort, actually will be more difficult in a sense, and its success will depend on both the state and local public health officials, and most importantly, individuals and families who will need to be committed to this effort to help their community. If I can, let me just show you what this basically will look like. We think of the contact tracing initiative as an effort to box in the virus. We want to surround it where it can't get out of that fence and infect more people. It starts with the very first part of this is quarantining upon first symptoms. We need people to isolate themselves as soon as we get symptoms, including their household, even before test results come back, because we have found that people can be very infectious very early in the disease. The second step is to test widely. And we are expanding our testing capability in the state of Washington so that we can test early and quickly and get those results to people as fast as possible. The third step is to isolate quickly. Certainly for people who are positive, we'll need to remain isolated and their families as well for 14 days. The fourth is to identify the contacts, and this is where we'll talk in some detail about our state efforts to be able to notify people who have had contact with a person who's been infected so that they can protect themselves, their families, and the community at large. And the fifth, of course, is to quarantine those people who've had contact who may be at risk, even before that they have had a positive test. So that in general is the corral we want to put around this virus. And this is going to be a partnership between our local health districts, which know the ground and know their communities, and the State of Washington Department of Health to bring both those levels of government to bear on this problem. So if I can start with the really first stage in this initiative, and that is isolation and quarantine. Now this is maybe one of the most important things, and that is that we know that to prevent this virus from spreading, it is extremely important for people to isolate themselves at the very first sign of symptoms of COVID-19, even before they have tested. The same is true for their household. And the reason is it may take a day to make the decision to get tested. It may take a day or two to get tested and get the results back as we build our testing protocol. And in those intervening days, people can infect any number of people going about what would be their normal activities. And that is a risk. That's those critical hours that we have to stop this virus in its tracks. This is going to take a lot of commitment by individuals in Washington, but we have already shown the knowledge of understanding the science of this virus, and I'm hoping people will heed this request. So it is a major challenge, but it is critical. The second issue is that we will have testing and our contact tracing. Let's see. So we will then have people get their tests. And when they have a test, they will be reached by phone for the results. And at that time, they will be asked some questions about people with whom they've had contact who might have been infected by this virus. The contact tracer, and I'll talk about who those people are, they're very highly trained people, they will reach out to the other people to let them know that they have been exposed to a person in conditions that could result in their infection. And that's important because those people will need to isolate themselves and their families as well. Our plan, we hope to achieve the ability to contact people within 24 hours of a positive test coming back from the first individual and talking to their close contacts within 48 hours. So this has to be very quick to be effective, and it's one of the reasons we've properly resourced what's necessary to make this initiative work. Now, it's very important to understand that this information will remain private. The information collected is only used by public health, and it is confidential. It will not be shared. Contacts will not be told the name of the person who may have exposed themselves to COVID-19. These professional interviewers will ask about symptoms and recent exposure and demographic questions such as age, address, and gender and ethnicity. But this will remain private, and the people who were contacted will not know who the person was who provided their name. Now, to show how this will work, we wanted to show you who will be the contact tracers. This is a labor-intensive endeavor, and we want to make sure that we have enough resources to get this job done. It's a very heavy lift for the people working on this effort, and that's why we're building up the contact tracing team, which by the end of this week will have 1,371 people who are fully trained when that is necessary to get this job done. And this will include, to date, 351 members of the Washington National Guard, 390 members of the Department of Licensing who have been trained, the State Department of Licensing, and a combination of 630 state and local health department professionals who today are working for the local health departments or the state health department. These people are fully trained, and that's really important because we want to make sure that these folks respect the rights of privacy of the people involved and that they have a good sense about how to deal with the public who are sometimes very anxious about their results and the like. And we feel good about the training that has been provided to them. So the people who do this work are very carefully screened, and they sign strict confidentiality agreements. Now, some of the things they will not ask about immigration status or a social security number or financial information or marital status. And I am looking forward to their work because it is the thing that gives us an opportunity to have confidence to move forward to reopen our economy as we continue to build this effort. So with that, I'd like